Right, what are hidden costs to insolvency? And I can hear you there. You're watching the video going, Chris, what do you mean a hidden cost to insolvency? I've asked my insolvency practitioner what it costs to liquidate, and he's told me 2, 3, 4, 5 grand plus VAT, and that's it. You've not watched enough of our videos. Because the cost to liquidate is a headline figure, okay? And if you're going out there basing your decision on what it's going to cost to liquidate, you potentially could have your arse out of the window and you could end up in some serious financial stress down the line. So I'm just going to give you an insight in what hidden costs there are in insolvency. So let's just imagine John has a business that has become insolvent. John is in a rush. And he goes onto Google and he puts liquidation. No, John actually puts cheapest liquidation. And John gets all these companies up that offer to liquidate his company for, I don't know, £2,000. So John thinks, I've got the deal of a lifetime here. I spoke to some funny guy with glasses and a bald head the other day, and he was going to quote me 4 grand plus VAT. And he also said I needed to pay some of my director's loan back. So John goes with a cheap liquidation and he signs up to them and he gives them all the information and he thinks, wow, I can't believe how easy this was. 3 weeks after John goes into liquidation, he gets a letter. And the letter says, John, we've reviewed the bank statements. In fact, probably won't be 3 weeks, might be 2 months. He says, we've reviewed the bank statements and John, you have taken out £80,000 out of the company. And you've got 7 days to pay that back. John, quite obviously, is very concerned about this. And he rings the liquidator up and he goes, you told me it was only £2,000 plus VAT to liquidate. And he goes, well, it was, but we've had to investigate your conduct and you owe the company £80,000. You better pay it or you're going to have some problems. Happens all the time. I'm going to tell you another one. Sally. Now, Sally has gone out there. What Sally wanted to do, she had a business that had some assets in the business. And what Sally did is she decided before she approached the liquidator, the assets that were worth about £60,000 in the last set of accounts, she decided to sell them to her partner, Morris, and she sold those assets for 500 quid. And she goes out there and she's searching for a liquidator and she finds somebody who's going to liquidate it for £1,500 plus VAT. Sally thinks she's got the deal of a lifetime. She's skipping back home. Sally signs the liquidation papers and then a few weeks later, she gets a letter saying that the liquidator is looking to recover the £60,000 that was the value for the assets that Sally sold to Morris. These stories happen. I'm going to give you another example. Bob. What Bob did is when he became insolvent, he started to pay off all his personally guaranteed loans instead of the HMRC, instead of his suppliers, instead of his customer deposits. And he goes out there and he scours the internet for the cheapest liquidator possible. And Bob finds someone who does it for 2.5 grand plus VAT. Bob's had loads of quotes at 4 grand, 5 grand, even 6 grand. Bob's sharp, so he thinks he is. He accepts a 2.5 grand plus VAT liquidation. And then what happens a few months later? The liquidator is sending a letter saying, Bob, you have cleared over £60,000 of debts with personal guarantees instead of paying everybody else. We're coming to you for the £60,000. So what's the moral of the story? Liquidators are looking for lots of things when you go into liquidation. They're going to investigate where's the money gone. They're going to investigate overdrawn directors' loan accounts. They're going to investigate if there's any transactions under value happen, basically selling assets for cheap. They're also going to investigate if you've made any preference payments, clearing personally guaranteed loans off instead of the HMRC. And if they find them, they're going to come to you for the money. So what you should do is, instead of running the gauntlet, is get all this stuff out on the table on day one. Say, this is what's happened. How can we deal with it? Again, I say it in lots of videos. The outcome for you will be better if you get it out on the table on day one, as opposed to it getting found out post-appointment. Because nobody's liquidating you for £2,000 plus VAT. Nobody. They're going to find something down the line. So go with the liquidators who get all your problems out on the table. It sounds like it's going to cost you more up front, but in the long run, hope you found the video helpful. If anything I've said concern you today, get in touch with me. Free, independent, impartial advice. Chris Word and Phil.